Alex had everything that most people would dream of having. A towering mansion in the heart of the city, sleek expensive cars parked in his garage, a private jet waiting for vacations at a moment's notice, and a lifestyle that most could only imagine in movies. Yet despite all this wealth, he felt a deep emptiness inside. He had achieved everything in business, had a name that inspired respect and admiration, but late at night, when the lights were dim and the house was quiet, he realized that money could not fill the void left in his heart. Since the death of his beloved wife 3 years ago, life had become a series of routines. He had tried to keep himself busy with work, meetings, charity events, and his social responsibilities, but nothing could distract him from the feeling of loneliness that shadowed every moment. His young daughter, Lily, was the only spark of joy in his life. Her laughter echoed through the hallways, and her innocent questions made him smile. But even she could not fill the space where companionship and love used to exist. Alex often watched her sleep at night, wishing he could find someone to share his life with, someone who would not only love him but also care for Lily, someone genuine who could bring warmth into their lonely mansion. Even among friends and business associates, Alex felt disconnected. Conversations often revolved around investments, parties, or trivial gossip, and he found it hard to share his true feelings with anyone. The people around him admired his success, envied his wealth, and respected his power, but no one truly understood the longing in his heart. He missed the feeling of being loved for who he was, not for the money he had. He missed laughter that came from deep within, late-night talks about dreams, and the simple joy of having someone by his side. Sometimes he would sit by the large glass windows in his penthouse, looking out at the city lights, sparkling like stars, and think about how empty his life felt despite the beauty surrounding him. He remembered the small moments with his wife, the way she used to smile at him over breakfast, the warmth of her hand in his, and the way Lily had looked up to both of them with pure trust and love. Those memories brought both happiness and pain, reminding him of what he had lost and what he longed to find again. Alex knew that he could not just hire someone to fill this emptiness. He wanted a real connection, someone who would understand him, who would laugh at his jokes even when they were silly, someone who would share his joys and sorrows, and someone who could love Lily as if she were her own. The thought of finding love again felt both exciting and frightening. He had been hurt before, and the fear of rejection or disappointment lingered in the back of his mind. But he also knew that life was too short to remain trapped in sadness. One afternoon, while Alex was walking through the city park with Lily, tossing breadcrumbs to the birds and watching her excitement as she chased a butterfly, he noticed a woman sitting alone on a bench. She looked tired and worn out, her clothes simple and her eyes holding a depth of sadness he could not ignore. Something about her caught his attention, not the way she looked, but the way she seemed to care for a small stray dog shivering beside her, gently covering it with her scarf and whispering soft words. He watched quietly, intrigued by her kindness and calm presence. In that moment, he felt a spark of curiosity, mixed with something he could not name, as if fate had quietly nudged him toward her. He thought about how different this woman was from the people he usually met in his world. She was not interested in money, glamour, or status. She gave a small gift to a stray without expecting anything, smiled at a stranger without pretense, and moved through life with a simplicity he had almost forgotten existed. The contrast was striking, and it stirred a feeling in him that he could not ignore. It was not just attraction. It was a sense of wonder and longing for something real, something honest, something that went beyond wealth and power. As the sun began to set, casting golden hues across the park, Alex felt a mix of emotions he had not felt in years: hope, curiosity, and a tiny flutter of excitement. He realized that perhaps, just perhaps, life had a way of surprising even those who thought they had everything. That evening, as he held Lily's hand and walked home, his mind kept returning to the woman on the bench, and a thought formed in his heart, a thought that would change the course of his life forever. He wanted to know her, not for status or image, but to see if she could bring back the warmth and love he so desperately missed. And for the first time in a long while, Alex felt a small, thrilling spark of possibility, a whisper of hope that love, genuine and unexpected, could still find its way into his lonely heart. That very evening, Alex could not stop thinking about the woman in the park. Her kindness to the stray dog had left a mark on his heart, and a curiosity he had not felt in years began to grow. Over the next few days, he found himself returning to the same park, always keeping a careful distance, hoping to catch another glimpse of her, but she never appeared at the same time or place. And every day he would leave feeling both disappointed and strangely drawn to her presence. He began asking around discreetly, trying to learn more about her without appearing intrusive. Some people whispered that she was homeless. Others said she had once worked in a nearby cafe. But no one seemed to know her story. And yet, the more he learned, the more he admired her resilience. Alex had always been used to people wanting something from him. Money, influence, or favors. But here was someone whose world existed completely outside of his, and he found that thrilling. One rainy afternoon, as Lily played near the fountain in the park under his watchful eye, he finally saw her again. She was sitting on a bench, wrapped in an old coat, a thin blanket over her legs, the small stray dog curled beside her. Her face was streaked with rain, but her eyes shone with a quiet determination that captured him completely. Alex took a deep breath, feeling a mix of nerves and excitement. Today, he thought, he would approach her, not with his wealth or his power, but simply, as a man wanting to know her. He walked slowly toward her, careful not to startle her. Lily skipped ahead, waving at the dog, and the woman smiled faintly at the sight. Alex hesitated for a moment, searching for the right words, and finally said, "Hello, my name is Alex. I noticed how kind you are to that dog, and I wanted to say thank you." She looked up at him, her eyes wary but curious. "I'm Maya," she replied softly, her voice calm but guarded. "It's nothing, really, just helping a little creature in need." There was something in the simplicity of her words that made Alex's chest tighten. No pretension, no expectation, just genuine care. He found himself wanting to know everything about her. Her story, her dreams, her fears, and yet he felt the need to respect her space. Over the next few weeks, he found ways to pass by the park more often, sometimes leaving food for her and the dog, sometimes simply sitting at a distance and observing, always careful not to make her feel uncomfortable. Slowly, an unusual friendship began to grow. Alex would talk about small things, his daughter's funny habits, the changing seasons, even mundane observations about city life. And Maya would respond, sharing tiny glimpses of her life, how she had struggled, how she survived, and what she hoped for. In these moments, Alex realized that wealth and status meant nothing here, nothing compared to the warmth of genuine human connection. Maya had no idea who he really was, and perhaps that was what made him feel so free around her. One day, Lily ran to Maya with a drawing she had made, a picture of the park, the dog, and the three of them together. Maya's eyes softened as she looked at the child's innocent work. She knelt down and hugged Lily gently. And in that moment, Alex felt a surge of emotion he had not allowed himself to feel in years. He realized that this connection was becoming deeper than he had expected, and that Maya's presence was already changing his heart. But Alex also understood that trust could not be rushed. He had been careful to approach her gently, to give her the freedom to choose whether to let him into her world. And Maya, though cautious, began to notice that Alex's intentions were sincere. He was not here to impress her with wealth. He was here simply to know her, to see her as a person, to respect her life and her choices, and slowly, in quiet moments filled with laughter, shared stories, and silent understanding, a bond began to form, fragile yet undeniable. By the time the sun set on the park one chilly evening, Alex realized that he no longer just admired Maya from afar. He wanted to be part of her life, to protect her, to care for her, and perhaps to open his heart to love again. But he also knew that this was only the beginning, and that gaining her trust, proving that his intentions were real, and navigating the challenges ahead would require patience, courage, and a willingness to face the unexpected. And so, as the city lights began to twinkle around them and the wind whispered softly through the trees, Alex made a silent promise to himself that he would do whatever it took to show Maya that love could exist in the most unlikely places, and that her heart her dignity, and her dreams would always be respected. Over the next few weeks, Alex found himself thinking about Maya more than he ever thought possible. Every time he returned to the park, he felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. His heart raced at the thought of speaking to her directly about something that had been growing inside him for days. He knew it was unusual, even shocking, for a man of his status to feel this way about a woman who lived such a different life. But he could not deny it. He cared for her deeply, more than he had cared for anyone in years, and he wanted to take a bold step. One late afternoon, the sky painted in shades of orange and pink, Alex saw Maya sitting on her usual bench, the little stray dog resting at her feet. Lily played nearby. Drawing shapes in the dirt with a stick, Alex took a deep breath and approached them. Trying to keep his nerves under control, Maya looked up, giving him a cautious smile, and in that moment, he realized he had no choice but to speak his truth. "Maya," he began, his voice steady but full of emotion. "I know this may sound strange, but I have to be honest with you. I want you to be part of my life, not just as a friend, but as someone I care for deeply. I want to ask you something that might surprise you." Maya's eyes widened slightly, and Alex could see the curiosity and wariness in them. She remained silent, waiting for him to continue, and he felt a wave of courage rush through him. "I want you to marry me," he said softly, the words hanging in the air between them. "I know we come from very different worlds. I know this is not something anyone would expect, but I cannot ignore how I feel. I love the way you care, the way you see the world, and I want Lily and I to share our life with you, if you will have us." Maya blinked, taken aback, her hand instinctively reaching to brush the dog's head. She looked at him, searching his face, trying to understand if he was serious or simply caught in a moment of fantasy. "Alex, you can't be serious," she said softly, but there was no anger in her voice. Only a mixture of disbelief and careful thought. "Why would a man like you, rich, successful, admired by everyone, choose someone like me?" Her voice trembled slightly, revealing both her vulnerability and her strength. Alex stepped closer, gently, speaking with sincerity that could not be questioned. "Because Maya, it is not about money, power, or appearances. It is about you, your heart, your kindness, and the way you see life. I don't care about the world's expectations. I care about what is real, and what is real is you." Maya sat quietly, processing his words. Her life had been full of hardships, rejections, and people who looked at her as if she were invisible. Yet here was a man offering her love without condition, offering respect and a chance at happiness. But the thought of marriage was daunting. She had spent years surviving on her own, never depending on anyone, and the idea of trusting someone completely again felt overwhelming. I don't know if I can," she whispered. "I've never lived like that. I've never had someone depend on me in that way, and I'm scared." Alex smiled gently, kneeling down to meet her eyes. "I know, and I will not rush you. I am not asking you to decide today. I am asking you to consider that life can be different, that love can come unexpectedly, and that together we can create something beautiful. I will respect your choices, your pace, and your independence, but I had to tell you how I feel because keeping it inside would be unfair to both of us." Maya looked down at the little dog, then at Lily playing nearby, then back at Alex, and for the first time in years, she felt a spark of hope that life could be more than mere survival. "Marriage, it's a big word," she said softly, her eyes glistening with emotion, "and I have no idea if I am ready for it, but I also see that you are not asking because of my situation. You are asking because of me, and that is something I have never experienced." Alex reached out his hand, not to push her, but to offer comfort. "I don't expect an answer today, Maya. I only ask that you consider it. I will wait, and I will do whatever it takes to show you that my intentions are real, that I care for you and Lily, and that we could be happy together." For the first time in her life, Maya felt a possibility she had never dared to imagine. That love could exist outside of conditions, expectations, and survival. That evening, as they walked slowly back with Lily, she thought about the idea of opening her heart again, of trusting someone who truly saw her. And even though she was still uncertain, a small, fragile hope began to grow, the kind of hope that changes everything and sets the stage for a journey filled with love, trust, and the unexpected. Maya sat quietly on the park bench, the little stray dog curled up beside her. Alex standing a few feet away, his hands still outstretched, filled with sincerity and hope. She could see the earnestness in his eyes, the way he wasn't flaunting his wealth or power, the way he seemed vulnerable in front of her. And for a moment, the weight of her own life, her struggles, and her fears pressed heavily on her. She had survived on the streets, faced hunger, cold nights, judgment, and loneliness, and the thought of opening her heart again felt both thrilling and terrifying. Finally, after a long pause, she spoke, her voice quiet but steady. Alex, if you truly want me to consider this, if you want to marry me, there's something you must understand, something important. Alex nodded, leaning slightly forward, his attention entirely on her. I am listening, Maya. Please tell me. She looked at Lily playing nearby, then at the small dog, and took a deep breath. I am not asking for money, a mansion, or fancy gifts. None of that matters to me. What I am asking is that you respect my independence, my dignity, and my choices. I have survived this long on my own, and I do not want to feel trapped or obligated because of wealth or status. Alex's heart swelled with admiration. He had expected hesitation, maybe even disbelief, but her words revealed a strength and clarity he had rarely seen in anyone. Maya, he said gently, I do not want to take that away from you. I don't want to control you, and I don't want to define your life for you. I am asking you to marry me because I want to share my life with you, because I believe that together we can create happiness, love, and trust, not because I want to change who you are. Maya's eyes glistened with a mixture of surprise and emotion. She had not expected him to understand the essence of her request, and for the first time, she felt a possibility of being seen and valued for who she truly was. She continued cautiously, if I agree to this, I need to know that I can continue being me, that my life, my choices, and even my struggles are respected. I don't want to feel like a charity case. I don't want to feel like I owe you anything because of who you are. I need to feel equality, respect, and honesty. Alex listened intently, nodding slowly. Maya, I promise you that. Nothing about our relationship will be transactional. Nothing will be based on status, money, or convenience. You will always have freedom, respect, and the ability to choose, and I will do everything in my power to show you that my love and intentions are genuine. For a moment, the air between them was heavy with unspoken emotion, both aware of the challenges and risks, but also of the potential for something extraordinary. Maya's heart, hardened by years of struggle, began to soften. She realized that for the first time, someone was offering her love without conditions, without judgment, and without an expectation of repayment. She could feel the sincerity in Alex's words, and it ignited a fragile spark of hope, a tiny light in a world that had often felt dark and lonely. Maya looked down at Lily, who ran back to them holding a small bouquet of wildflowers she had picked, and then back at Alex, and she finally smiled, a mixture of caution, curiosity, and warmth. I will consider it, she whispered, but I need time. I need to see if your actions match your words, if your intentions are real, and if we can truly be partners in life, not just in name. Alex reached out, placing his hand gently over hers. I will wait as long as it takes, Maya. I will prove to you every day that my love is real, and that together we can build a life of respect, trust, and happiness. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of gold and rose, they sat there quietly, watching Lily laugh and play, feeling a new and delicate bond forming between them. It was a connection based not on wealth, appearances, or convenience, but on respect, understanding, and the possibility of true love. Maya's heart, though cautious, could not deny the excitement of imagining a future where she could be loved for herself. And Alex felt a sense of purpose he had not felt in years. The road ahead would not be easy, but in that moment, both of them felt the first stirrings of a life-changing journey. After their conversation in the park, a delicate balance began to form between Alex and Maya. The words had been spoken, promises quietly made, but trust, as both of them knew, could not be demanded. It had to be earned, nurtured, and proven over time. Alex understood this better than anyone, and he was determined to show Maya that his intentions were real, that his love for her and Lily was not fleeting, and that his world, vast and complicated as it was, could also be a place of safety and warmth for her. The first step was helping Maya regain some stability without making her feel like she was a charity case. Alex arranged a small, modest apartment near the city, far from the glaring spotlight of wealth that often accompanied his life. He insisted that the place reflected comfort, safety, and independence, not extravagance, and that Maya have the freedom to arrange and decorate it as she wished at first. Maya was hesitant, unsure if she could accept such generosity without losing her dignity. But Alex reminded her gently that accepting help did not mean giving up her strength or independence. Slowly, he helped her find a part-time job at a local library, a place where she could feel valued and contribute without being judged. Maya found a quiet pride in earning her own income again, and Alex made sure to never interfere, always letting her take the lead. It was a small step, but for Maya, it meant reclaiming her confidence, her sense of self-worth, and her ability to make decisions for herself. Meanwhile, Alex spent countless hours with Maya and Lily, helping with schoolwork, sharing meals, and even doing little chores together. The simplicity of these moments, the laughter over spilled milk, the quiet evenings reading books, the warmth of shared stories, was nothing like the glamorous events of his usual life. Yet it felt far richer, more real, and more fulfilling. Alex found joy in seeing Maya smile at the small victories of daily life, in watching Lily's eyes light up when Maya played with her, and in feeling a connection that money could never buy. But building trust was not without challenges. Maya had lived a life of hardship, and caution was her natural companion. There were days when she would pull back, retreat into herself, or question Alex's motives. "Why are you really helping me?" she asked one evening, her voice trembling but honest. Alex took her hands in his, looking straight into her eyes. "Because I care for you, Maya, not because of your past, not because of what I can give, but because of who you are. You have a heart full of kindness, a mind full of strength, and a spirit I cannot ignore. I am here to support you, not control you, to walk beside you, not above you." Hearing these words, Maya felt a shift inside her. She had spent years shielding herself, fearing dependence, fearing betrayal. Yet here was a man who was showing her that trust could be gentle, respectful, and unconditional. Slowly, she began to let him in, allowing herself to laugh more freely, to share small secrets, and even to dream again. She found herself looking forward to their meetings, the quiet companionship, and the subtle, unspoken understanding that was growing between them. One day, as they walked through the park together, Lily skipping ahead, Alex watched Maya help a lost child find his mother, her calm authority and empathy shining through. He realized that this was the woman he had always hoped to find, strong, compassionate, and unafraid of life's hardships. Maya glanced at him and smiled, a quiet acknowledgement of the bond that had grown between them. It was not romance yet, not fully, but it was something far more important: trust, respect, and the first true glimmers of a connection that could last a lifetime. As the days turned into weeks, Maya's confidence grew. Alex's devotion never wavered, and Lily's laughter filled the spaces in between. It was in these small, ordinary moments that the extraordinary was taking shape. A family, not defined by wealth, status, or appearances, but by love, respect, and shared dreams. Alex knew that the journey ahead would be filled with challenges, skepticism from the outside world, and tests of patience. But in Maya's eyes, he saw the promise of a life transformed. And in her smile, he saw hope for a future that neither of them could have imagined alone. As the bond between Alex and Maya strengthened, the world outside their small circle began to notice. What had started as quiet companionship was slowly turning into something extraordinary. Yet, not everyone was pleased. The idea of a billionaire single dad being interested in a homeless woman spread like wildfire among friends, family, and the social circles Alex frequented. Some were shocked, others skeptical, and a few outright disapproving. They questioned his judgment, whispering behind his back that he had lost his senses or was falling for a fantasy. And these murmurs reached Maya as well, carried by curious onlookers and idle gossip. Maya, who had spent her life avoiding attention, felt the unease immediately. She was suddenly under a different kind of scrutiny, one that made her uncomfortable and self-conscious. People would stare when she walked with Alex, sometimes whispering cruelly, sometimes with disbelief, and she felt the weight of their judgment pressing down on her. She worried that Alex would grow frustrated, that he might leave her world behind for the one he had always known, and a flicker of fear crept into her heart, threatening to undo the trust they had built. Alex noticed the change in her demeanor, the way she pulled back slightly when they went out, the hesitation in her laughter, and the shadow in her eyes. He understood that the outside world could be harsh and unkind, and he refused to let it affect what they were building. One evening, as they sat in the quiet of his study, he took her hands in his. "Maya," he said softly, "I know people are talking, and I know it's difficult, but I want you to know that I am not leaving. I am not changing my mind. I care about you, about us, and about Lily, and nothing anyone says can change that. Our life together is ours to create, not theirs to judge." Hearing his words, Maya felt a mixture of relief and emotion. She had never known someone to defend her so completely, to stand by her even when the world seemed stacked against her. Slowly, she began to regain her courage, realizing that love was not just about comfort or ease, but about facing challenges together. She began to understand that Alex's commitment was more than words. It was action, and that gave her hope and strength. But challenges were not only external. There were internal ones as well. Alex himself had fears and insecurities he had rarely shared. The pressure of his status, the constant attention from the media, and the expectations from his family weighed on him. He worried about Maya feeling overwhelmed, about whether she could truly adapt to his world without losing herself. He also feared that his past experiences with loss and grief might cloud his judgment, that his love might be flawed in ways he could not anticipate. Despite these fears, they faced the world together. Little by little, each outing, each shared meal, each quiet walk was a test, and each one strengthened their connection. Maya learned to navigate a world that had once seemed alien to her, while Alex learned patience, humility, and the true meaning of partnership. They laughed at misunderstandings, comforted each other during moments of doubt, and celebrated the small victories. Like the day Maya confidently walked into a boutique to pick out a simple dress, or the day Alex joined her at the library to help her organize books. One particularly difficult day, a tabloid ran a story about Alex and Maya, full of speculation and gossip. It could have been a turning point, a moment to retreat and hide, but instead, they faced it together. Alex publicly stated that Maya was important to him, and that their relationship was based on mutual respect and love, not status or wealth. Maya, seeing his unwavering support, realized that this was the life she had been longing for. Not perfect, not easy, but real, filled with someone who would stand beside her no matter the circumstances. By the time the week ended, the challenges had tested them, but also proven their strength. They had faced judgment, criticism, and doubt, yet their bond remained unbroken. In the quiet of their home, as Lily laughed and played with her toys, Alex and Maya shared a moment of understanding, realizing that love was not only about passion or attraction, but about commitment, respect, and courage. They had survived the world's skepticism, and in doing so, had discovered a deeper connection, one that could weather storms, endure trials, and grow stronger with each passing day. After weeks of quiet perseverance, small acts of kindness, and countless shared moments, the bond between Alex and Maya blossomed into something deeper, something neither of them had expected, but both had secretly hoped for. It was not sudden, like a spark in the night, but slow, steady, and natural, like the sun rising over the city, bringing warmth and light to every corner of life. Their trust had been tested. Their hearts had been cautious. And yet here they were, laughing together, sharing stories, and finding joy in moments both big and small. It started with the little things, the gestures that seemed insignificant to outsiders but carried meaning between them. Alex would bring Maya her favorite coffee without her asking. She would leave small notes of encouragement for Lily, and together they would share quiet evenings reading books, playing games, or simply talking about dreams, fears, and memories. In these moments, the walls they had built around themselves began to crumble, revealing hearts that were ready to love and be loved. Lily, sensing the change, embraced Maya with all the innocence and trust a child could offer. She no longer saw Maya as just a friend, but as someone who belonged to their little world, someone who made her laugh, cared for her, and became a part of her life. Maya, in turn, began to understand what it meant to nurture someone with unconditional love, to see joy reflected in the eyes of a child, and to find fulfillment in small, everyday moments. One afternoon, Alex took Maya and Lily on a picnic in the park where they had first met, the place that had started it all. He spread a blanket under the shade of an old oak tree, and they shared sandwiches, fruits, and laughter. Lily ran ahead to chase butterflies while Alex and Maya sat together, their hands brushing occasionally, neither pulling away. Words were not always needed, for in their silence, they understood each other deeply. The simple act of being together, away from judgment, wealth, and expectations, was enough to solidify the connection they had nurtured. Maya began to notice subtle changes in herself, a newfound confidence, a sense of security, and the realization that she could trust someone completely without losing herself. She felt seen, appreciated, and loved for who she truly was, not for what she had endured or where she had come from. Alex, on the other hand, discovered a depth of emotion he had long forgotten. The joy of being genuinely understood, the comfort of sharing life with someone who truly mattered, and the beauty of love that was patient, kind, and unwavering. As weeks turned into months, their relationship deepened, filled with moments that were both ordinary and extraordinary. The small gestures of care, the shared laughter, and the quiet understanding of each other's hearts created a bond stronger than any challenge they had faced. Friends and family who had doubted their connection began to see the authenticity of their love, slowly coming to understand that it was not about wealth or appearances, but about respect, compassion, and genuine affection. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold, Alex took Maya's hand and led her to the fountain where they had first truly connected. "Maya," he said softly, "these months with you have been the most meaningful of my life. I never imagined I could feel this kind of love again, and I cannot imagine my life without you. I want us to continue building this life together, to laugh, to grow, and to love each other every single day." Maya looked into his eyes, feeling the truth in his words. And in that moment, she realized that love was no longer a possibility, but a reality, one that they had created together. Tears glistened in her eyes as she smiled, a mixture of joy, relief, and hope. "Alex," she whispered, "I see now that love is not about wealth or status. It's about respect, trust, and being there for each other. And I want to share my life with you and Lily. I want us to be a family." Alex pulled her into a gentle embrace, feeling the warmth of her acceptance, the bond that had grown through trust, patience, and courage, and the promise of a future filled with shared dreams, laughter, and love. As they walked back to their home hand in hand, Lily skipping ahead, the city around them felt brighter, full of possibilities. Their journey had been challenging, uncertain, and at times frightening, but through it all, love had blossomed in its purest form, showing them that even in the most unlikely circumstances, hearts could find each other, connect deeply, and create something truly extraordinary. The day of their wedding arrived quietly, without the pomp and spectacle that most would expect of a billionaire's life. Alex and Maya had chosen simplicity, a celebration that reflected who they truly were, rather than what the world expected them to be. The ceremony was held in a small garden, surrounded by flowers in full bloom, sunlight filtering softly through the trees, and the gentle hum of nature creating a peaceful, magical atmosphere. Friends who had witnessed their journey, and a few close family members who had come to understand their love, gathered to share in the joy. Maya looked stunning in a simple white dress, her hair softly curled, her eyes shining with a mixture of excitement, love, and quiet strength. She held Lily's hand as they walked toward Alex, who was waiting with a smile full of tenderness and devotion. For a moment, the world seemed to fade away, leaving only the three of them, connected by trust, love, and the journey that had brought them here. Alex's heart swelled as he looked at Maya, the woman who had transformed his life in ways he had never imagined. The struggles, doubts, and challenges had all led to this beautiful moment, and he was filled with gratitude. When it was time to exchange vows, Alex spoke first, his voice steady but filled with emotion. Maya, from the moment I met you, I realized that love is not about wealth, status, or appearances. It is about trust, kindness, and being there for each other through every challenge. You have shown me a love I never knew existed, a love that is patient, honest, and unwavering. I promise to honor you, respect you, and cherish you for the rest of my life, to stand by you through every joy and every struggle, and to love you and Lily with all my heart. Maya's eyes glistened as she spoke. Alex, I never imagined I could find love like this. I have known hardship, loneliness, and doubt, but you have shown me that it is possible to be loved for who I am, not for what I have. I promise to walk beside you, to support you, and to nurture our family with honesty, patience, and courage. I promise to love you, Lily, and the life we are creating together, no matter what challenges come our way. When they exchanged rings, the little dog that had been by Maya's side since the park padded quietly between them, Lily giggling as she helped place the final ring on Maya's finger. The moment was simple, yet perfect, a symbol of love that had grown not from material wealth, but from respect, trust, and shared dreams. Friends and family cheered softly, some wiping away tears, recognizing that this union was not just about marriage, but about triumph, healing, and the extraordinary power of love. After the ceremony, they walked hand in hand through the garden, feeling the warmth of the sun, the gentle breeze, and the quiet joy that surrounded them. Alex looked at Maya and Lily, and a smile spread across his face. This is everything I ever hoped for, he whispered. Maya leaned her head against his shoulder. And it is just the beginning, she replied softly. They had weathered challenges, judgment, and doubts. Yet their love had endured, growing stronger with every step. In the days that followed, their life together unfolded beautifully, filled with laughter, simple routines, shared responsibilities, and quiet moments of connection. Maya thrived in her new independence, her confidence blossoming as she balanced work, family, and personal growth. Alex found a sense of fulfillment he had never known, realizing that true wealth was measured not in money, but in love, happiness, and the bonds shared with those who mattered most. Even the world outside gradually came to respect their union, seeing that their love was genuine, grounded, and transformative. Alex and Maya became an example of how hearts could find each other across worlds that seemed impossibly different, how trust and respect could overcome judgment, and how love could truly change lives. Lily grew up surrounded by laughter, warmth, and the unwavering support of two people who loved her deeply. The little stray dog that had brought them together remained, a loyal companion, a quiet reminder of the journey that had started in a park one ordinary afternoon. As the sun set on their first evening as a married family, Alex, Maya, and Lily sat together on the porch, watching the city lights twinkle in the distance, hands intertwined, hearts full. They knew that life would not always be easy, but together they could face anything. Their story, once uncertain and filled with fear, had transformed into a tale of hope, resilience, and the extraordinary power of love. And in that quiet, perfect moment, they realized that they had found not only each other, but home, happiness, and a life worth living.